Alright, welcome to TFO next morning. It's TheRaja here, and we're going to be looking at some of the stuff that happened during week 14 of the TFO season of Odin. So let's shift into recap mode as we recap the week that was week 14. So on Thursday Night Football, we had the G.I. Joes taking on the Pallet Pokeballers. A close contest all the way through, but with less than 1 minute remaining in the game, we see G.I. Joe's quarterback Commander Duke with a 30-yard quarterback sneak to tie the game and take us to Thursday night overtime. But the Pokemon, they get the coin flip, and passes to Charizard and Gyarados brought victory to the Pokeballers. Pallet Town celebrated that night with a good victory. G.I. Joe 21, Ballers 27. On the Saturday night special, we got the Raider All-Stars. They took on the DBZ squad. This is brother versus brother. The Saturday night crew dubbed this the Nathan Schuster Show, as the young wide receiver was able to make 5 amazing catches from legendary quarterback Jim Plunkett to dominate the DBZ squad. Plunkett had 100% completion and over 300 yards passing on the day, which is remarkable. But the DBZ squad did hold their own with 300 yards of offense themselves and almost double the first downs that the All-Stars had. But in the end, it's touchdowns that win games, and the All-Stars were able to outscore their younger brother in this one. All-Stars 49, DBZ squad 21. And then starting with the Saturday or Sunday afternoon games, we went into the Hollywood Heroes taking on the WWF Hoffs. Domination is the only way to describe the Hollywood Heroes today. On offense, we witnessed another 4+ touchdown game by running back Al Bundy. He actually had 5 on the day. And on defense, we witnessed the Heroes recover multiple fumbles and pick off Hoff's quarterback Randy Savage 5 times, with one of those being returned for a touchdown by the Flash himself, Barry Allen. Heroes owner Clayton Willis was quite upset at their loss last week to the World's Warriors, and was especially critical of the secondary coverage. Well, whatever he said to them lit a fire, because this team looked nothing short than perfect today. And I can assure you, it had nothing to do with the ridiculous added security that Clayton Willis had for his team during this matchup. They lost last week because they suck, Clayton. Get over it. But Heroes were victory here today. Heroes 45, Hoffs 0. Then we had the Nocturne Maniacs taking on the 8-Bit Brigade. The Maniacs were really looking for a bounce-back victory this week, but early on lost their star running back Tyrant Mara. Without their key player, and with Brigade's impressive defensive showing, the Maniacs had no shot. But what might be considered a miracle, 8-Bit Brigade's quarterback Mark Summers did not throw an interception. I guess now he has the all-time season record for interceptions. He might be deciding to dedicate himself to winning instead of being physically challenged. Only time will tell, but this win keeps the Brigade in the playoff conversation. Maniacs 0, Brigade 38. Then we had the Azerothian Assassins taking on the Beer Gods. I've been saying how dangerous the Assassins are all season, and this is just another showcase of that. The problem, though, that the Assassins have had all season is their inability to put opponents away. And with their 10-point lead being cut down to 3 by the Beer Gods running back Lofin the Dominator Dumande, and a recovered onside kick by the Beer Gods, it looked like another one could be slipping through their keyboard fingers. But the Azerothian defense showed up for the first moments of the game and stopped tight end Sierra Nevada in the red zone as time expired. This win avenges the shutout loss the Assassins had against the Beer Gods in Week 11. Good job, Assassins. Assassins 31, Beer Gods 28. Also to note is that the Beer Gods have lost their last 3 matchups, and what once seemed to be like an unstoppable force is now in danger of losing the Bad Crackle division, potentially not making the playoffs at all. We also had the Stellar Offenders taking on the Whovians. The Stellar Offenders have been shilling their meanie cereal for most of this season, and nothing could be a better product endorsement than their victory over one of their most hated rivals. The Hoovians actually were winning this game early on, but the offenders' defense kicked into high gear and didn't let them return back to the lead. Titan Thanos was especially on point today, as he was last week too. He had multiple sacks and kept pressure on Tom Baker throughout the game, causing the fifth Time Lord to make some costly throws, like the unfortunate pick to the Supreme Dalek early in the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's ironic. Stellar Offenders with the victory. Offenders 26, Hoovians 14. We had the Weapon X's taking on the Venture Industry. Venture Industry has suffered this season with the absence of Brock Sampson. Well, no more, as the Mullet Mayhem returned in grand fashion. 268 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns is a hell of a way to make a statement. But Sampson didn't do it alone, as the Venture defense, headlined by the Monarch, was able to hold rushing quarterback the Wolverine under 80 yards on the day. Impressive. X's 14, Industries 31. The Greek Legends took on the Champs Chumps. Epic battle here that had the Legends down by 14 in the fourth quarter, but Barry God Sanders was able to score a long 78-yard rush to bring the Legends within 7. And on the kickoff, it is again the Barry God coming up with the onside kick. One drive later, and almighty Zeus connects with tight end Narcissus, and we are going to overtime. We see 3 different possessions in overtime, and a costly injury to Champs running back Ron Jeremy. But what sealed the deal was wide receiver Chuck Liddell's fumble to the Legends on their own 30. Zeus is able to connect in the end zone with the Barry God, and that's the ball game. Legends 37, Champs 31. With this big victory, the Legends are now in the lead of the Mad Crackle division by 2 wins with only 3 games left to go. So that means if they win and the guys behind them lose, they're gonna clinch the division. The Racial Slurs took on the Lost Survivors. Another big return this week was Slurs superstar running back the Bum. Fresh off an alcohol infusion, the Bum looked reinvigorated with 150 yards rushing on only 7 carries. But what really helped the Slurs was their defense holding the Lost Survivors to 2 field goals early in the game. When Lost finally started to get quarterback John Locke going, it was too much of an uphill battle to come back from. Slurs 28, Survivors 20. Both of these teams needed wins to keep their name in the playoff conversation, and the Slurs do just that, as they are now 1 game behind the Bad Pop leader. Lost are lost now. They're 2 down with 3 games left in the season. The World's Warriors faced off against the Robot Masters. The World's Warriors have been the definition of domination this season. With the Robot Masters, they've been malfunctioning since game 1. So the outcome here can't be that surprising to Dr. Wiley. The Warriors had over 300 yards on offense on the day, with 230 of that being thrown in the air by TFO's leading quarterback, Sun Tzu. You know, the normal stuff. Dale Johnson must have barrels of that Tolkien dust, because these historical figures are looking better every week. Warriors 35, Masters 7. And this actually puts the Warriors 2.5 games up in the Mad Snap. So one more win or a loss by Venture Industries, and Dale Johnson will clinch his 2nd consecutive Mad Snap Division Championship. The Rainbow Unicorns fought off against the TMNT Torturers. The Turtles are in a heated Bad Pop division, and every win is important. And this one on paper looks easy, but the Torturers found out that these Unicorns are here to play. But with the Unicorns down by 14 in the 4th, they were able to get Princess Anna in the end zone to bring it within 7. But the onside kick attempt, it was returned by returning Torturer wide receiver Leonardo, who was able to scoop the ball up and run the onside kick all the way back to the Turtle 10. The Turtles did fumble on that drive and gave the Unicorns one more shot, but Elsa just couldn't bring us to overtime. She coughed the ball up herself, and the Turtles were able to hang on to victory. Unicorns 14, Torturers 21. The Boxhead Capers fought off against the Celestial Defenders, a match that would pit these 2 franchises against each other for the first time in TFO history. Boxhead would be down by 14 after the first quarter, but was able to claw their way back into the game and be down by 4 going into the 4th. That's when the clever girl Velociraptor stepped into a Vash throw and got the interception to get the ball back into the Boxhead hands. But Bachhead's quarterback, Akbar, is still out with injury, so the legendary, horrible quarterback, Dr. Teeth, was in for the snaps. Teeth was able to get the Capers into the red zone, but was unable to convert on a fourth down, primarily because of a big-time sack from linebacker Miss Marvel on 2nd and goal. Defenders are able to hold on and hold out, and they even got a garbage time touchdown to seal the deal. Capers 17, Defenders 28. Westeros Guardians fought off against the All-American Alcoholics. The Guardians must have been reinvigorated with the starting of the new season of Game of Thrones, because this was a team that was at one point 1-6. They had won their last 5 games coming into this matchup, and a victory would tie both these teams at 7-6 in the Mad Crackle, putting them both at 2nd place. But now they got to face off against the Alkies, and the Alkies are legendary for being a high-octane matchup. But the Guardians showed what they were made of. 270 passing yards by Tywin Lannister with a 90% completion. 121 reception yards by tight end The Hound on only 6 completions. And the Guardians defense was able to pick off Alki's quarterback Jim Beam 2 times during this contest. Big victory for Westeros, as they have now won their last straight 6 games. Wow. Guardians 42, Alkies 7. And on the Sunday Night Football, we had the South Jersey Slashers taking on the Rap Kings. The battle for the Mad Pop division continued on Sunday Night Football as the Slashers met the Rap Kings for the first time this season. South Jersey went up by 14 in the second quarter, thanks in part to an interception by Candyman. But before the half was over, the Kings were able to make 2 touchdowns themselves, thanks in part to an interception by Ice Cube. But on the second point after, the Slashers blocked and kept a 1-point lead. The two teams continued to duke it out until in the third quarter, Slashers wide receiver, kick returner, punt returner Freddy Krueger went down with injury. And without Krueger, the Slashers offense seemed to implode as the Kings were able to capitalize. Slashers 28, Rap Kings 34. And even though the Kings were able to get a victory, they are only half a game up in the Mad Pop due to the Defenders having a tie this season. Also, this Slashers Rap Kings feud isn't over, as we will see the Rap Kings at South Jersey week 17. Alright, and then we'll look at the the standings here real quick. So, in the Bad Snap leading it, we got the Offenders and the Hollywood Heroes at 9-4. Lost Survivors are 2 games down. Boxhead Gapers are 3 games down. And Hoovians are 4 games down. So they are not going to win the division. In the Bad Crackle, we got the Beer Gods at 8-5. Raider All-Stars and DBZ Squad are 1 game down. Weapon X's are 2 games down. And then the Azrathian Assassins, they are 4 games down, so they're not winning the division, unfortunately. In the Bad Pop, we got the Turtles on top, 7-6. The Slurs and the 8-Bit Brigade are 1 game down. And the Nocturne Maniacs, they're 3 games down. In the Mad Snap division, we got the World's Warriors at 9-3-1. Venture Industries is 2.5 games back. Rainbow Unicorns are 4.5 games back, and the Hall of Famers are 5.5 games back. The Mad Crackle, we have the Greek Legends on top, 9-4. They are 2 games up on the Westeros Guardians and All-American Alcoholics, 3 games up on the Champs Chumps, and they are a ton games, 7 up on the Robot Masters. And in the Mad Pop, we got the Rap Kings on top, 9-4. They're half a game up on the Defenders, who are 8-4-1. They're 1 game up on the South Jersey Slashers. And they're 3 games up on the Pokemon Pokeballers. And they are 6 games up on G.I. Joe. And then we're going to go into the injury report. Kick returner Gonzo still out for the Boxhead Capers. The Spider-Man great wide receiver and a runner for the Weapon X's is out. Grom's Hellscream, he's the running back of the Azrathian Assassins. They're more of a passing team, so they were able to get it done without him this week. Simon Belmont of the 8-Bit Brigade, he's a good returner. He's going to be sorely missed. Same thing for the Pizza Boy Kino of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Running back Tyrant Mara of the Maniacs, it sucks that she's going to be out. They really are going to look bad without her. Cousin Butch can't stay healthy of the Hoffs. Jack Daniels, running back of the All-American Alcoholics. He's more of a blocker, but he'll be missed. Great kick returner, punt returner, and wide receiver Freddie Krueger of the South Jersey Slashers. I believe he was really missed there at the end. I think they had a shot to win that game, and he's going to continue to be out. And Colonel Ace of G.I. Joe, he's a returner. He's still out. Akbar is going to be returning next week for the Boxhead Capers. That's good to hear. Running back the Imp, Tyrion of Westeros Guardians. They've been hot, so having him back is going to really help them. King Priam's back of the Greek Legends. Not too sorely missed, but he'll be good to have back. Ron Jeremy, the Champs Chumps, he got injured during that matchup this week, so it's going to be good to see him back. He wasn't even out a full game. And then the hot cosplay girl, she's been out since that whole Champs Chumps debacle where everybody pretty much got injured. And so it'll be nice to have her back. All right. And then that's going to bring us right into our top 5 this week. Top 5 is going to be top 5 teams looking playoff bound. Number 5 is the Hollywood Heroes. They're 9-4. They are tied for first in the bad snap with the Stellar Offenders. They're the number 9 offense with 3,410 yards. They're the number 1 rush offense with 2,483 yards this season. They're the number 24th defense, allowing 3,701 yards this season. And that's why I have them so low on this list, because I think that defense might end up costing them, and might cost them a chance of winning their division. But even with a 9-7 record, there's a real good shot they're going to make the playoffs. Number 4 is Rap Kings. They're 9-4. They are in first of the Mad Pop. They are half a game above the Defenders and a full game above the South Jersey Slashers. They're the number 7 offense with 3,545 yards, and they are the number 26 defense, allowing 3,740 yards. So they're a better offense than the Heroes currently, but they are a worse defense than the Heroes. But I put them slightly ahead because at least they're a half game up in their division. But they really need to, they are on that bubble too. It looks like they'll make the playoffs, but are they going to win the division? Wait, watch, and see. Number 3 is the Stellar Offenders. They're 9-4. They're tied for first in the bad snap with the Hollywood Heroes. They're number 8 offense with 3,438 yards this season, and they're the number 2 defense, allowing only 2,789 yards this season. I put them 2 spots higher than the Hollywood Heroes, even though they're tied in the same division with the Hollywood Heroes, just based on their stats. They're number 8 offense, number 2 defense. They don't have to play the Hollywood Heroes again, if I remember correctly. So all they need to do is win, win, win. And the Hollywood Heroes are going to have the same mentality, but it looks like the Stellar Offenders have the edge here. Number 2 is the Greek Legends. They're 9-4. They're in first of the Mad Crackle. They're 2 games up on the Westeros Guardians and All-American Alkies. They're the number 3 offense with 3,720 yards. That's split about 50-50, which is kind of interesting because most teams either are pass or run. And they're the number 13th defense, allowing 3,287 yards. So great offense, middle of the pack defense. They are 2 games up, which is nice. So if they win this week and Westeros and the Alkies lose this week, then they will clinch the division. So really it's in their hands. They just really need to win one more, and they're in great standings. I mean, even if they win one more and they don't clinch, if it comes down to tiebreaker, I think they're going to win in the tiebreaker. So they're looking for one more win. But my number 1 team looking playoff bound is them World's Warriors. They're 9-3-1. They're in first of the Mad Pop by 2.5. Venture Industries is down by 2.5 wins. They're the number 1 offense in TFO with 4,424 yards this season. Most of that's passing. They're the number 1 passing offense with 3,733 yards. They're the number 7 defense, allowing 3,008 yards this season. Mega awesome offense, really great defense. They are just looking so good. That half win for that tie is going to help them, it looks like, because all they need to do is, if they win one more, they clinch, because there's no way Venture Industries can catch them. If Venture Industries loses one more, then they can't catch them either. So really, it looks like the World's Warriors is getting a lock here. So it's a really great story. They're a great team. The Dale Johnson Limited Enterprises Incorporated Esquire, they're great. So it looks like that they're going to get their 2nd straight division championship. Way to go. So some people might ask me, why no Beer Gods on this list? Or why no TMNT Torturers? Well, both of these teams are under 9 wins right now. And so I don't know for sure if they're going to make the playoffs, because historically speaking, a team that's 8-8 really isn't I mean, you're really on the bubble there, so you're probably not going to make it. Heck, last year we had one team, which was the TMNT Torturers, who went 9-7, and they did not make the playoffs. So being 9-7 is not a safety net at all. All these 9 and whatever teams, well, other than the World's Warriors, I mean, they are pretty much going to be a lock, I think, because they have the tie. But these 9-4 teams, they just need, if they get one more win, they know for a fact that they're going playoffs. They know it. There's no doubt about it. But if they don't get another win, then they're going to have to rely on their tie, their how much the differential is, how many points they scored versus how many were scored against them. So that might be something to look out for. And see you next Tecmo. So let's see what time. 20 minutes. I spent more time on the games. I watched all the games this week, and so I wrote down little comments after I watched them, and then I just recited those, obviously. And so I think that gave a little bit of a clearer picture of what I was thinking during the time that I was watching it. Makes it a lot easier than I tried recording, stopping, and doing that, but I like doing it all in one straight shot. So I think that was a little better. I like the top 5 this week. I really wanted to talk about all the 9-win teams, so they're looking all playoff bound, so I thought that was interesting to put up there. I mean, this doesn't mean teams are out, but I mean, if you can't get to at least 8 wins, you are most likely out. I'm sorry, you're not going to be making the playoffs. So with 3 games left, teams like the Hoovians still got a shot. They're 5-8. So if they can win their next 3 and hope for a good tiebreaker, they do technically have a shot. But any team that has only 4 or less wins, like Azerothian Assassins, Nocturne Maniacs, Hall of Famers, Robot Masters, and G.I. Joe, they don't look like that they'll be able to make the at least minimal 8 wins to make the playoffs. Now, the Nocturne Maniacs are in a kind of a weird special situation because they're only 3 games down from their divisional leader. So it is potentially possible that they could go 7-9, and if everybody else in their division went 7-9, then it is technically feasible that they could win their division. That is probably the most unlikely scenarios because you'd have to have the Turtles lose all their games coming up. The Slurs and 8-Bit Brigade would only be able to win 1 game each between them, and then you would have to have the Nocturne Maniacs scoring shitloads of points each week because they have the worst differential in their division right now. So, but yeah, I mean, teams with three games left, I mean, you're looking at, wild card wise for the bad, Lost Survivors, Boxhead Capers, they're, and we'll see, and the Offenders and Hollywood Heroes, one of them is most likely getting a wild card because they have 9 wins. So Lost and Boxhead, they're really fighting for somebody else's wild card, which is kind of nice. But they're still in it because, Boxhead just needs 3 wins and they'll be 9-7, and Lost just needs 2 wins and they'll be 9 and whatever, In the bad Crackle, Raider All-Stars and DBZ Squad, they're 7-6. They're only 1 down from the Beer Gods, so they're looking potentially to take the lead there and take over the division. But they're only 2 games, really, both of them away from, 9 and whatever. Weapon X's is 3 games. They need to win. If they can win all 3 of their next games coming up, they'll be 9 and whatever. And so they'll be looking much better for that playoffs position. And they have a positive differential, which is really nice. A lot of these teams don't. So if they can kick it in high gear, they're still in it. The whole bad pop is just, I don't know what to say about it. But, I mean, the Slurs and 8-Bit Brigade, if they can win all the rest of their games, they'll be 9-7. And TMNT's only 2 games out. Really, they're all fighting between themselves. And so some of those losses are going to come between each other. I know that the Turtles face the 8-Bit Brigade coming up here in Week 16. So, I mean, they're still in it, but I don't think all those teams are going to make it. And if, luckily, one has to go from that division because one's going to win that division. So it'll be interesting to see who they're sending. But it's still really a close race in that division. Bad Snap, the World's Warriors have that. But the Venture Industry, they're right in there. They're only 2 games down from being 9 and whatever. So they just need to win 2 of their next 3. Westeros Guardians and the All-American Alkies and the Mad Crackle, they just need 2 wins each to be 9 and whatever. Champs Chumps are still in it too. They're 3 games down from that. They could be 9-7. They got to win out their next 3 games. In the Mad Pop, you got the Defenders are only half a game away from being 9 and whatever. So they're pretty much 9 and whatever it looks like. But the South Jersey Slashers are breathing down their neck. They're only 1 game down from being 9 and whatever. And the Pokemans, They just need if they can just kick it into hyperdrive or whatever that new ability they use is. I mean, shiny is a crappy thing because it just makes your Pokemon look a different color, and I don't understand that. Mega Evolution, that's what I'm talking about. They just need to Mega Evolve, and then they could potentially be 9-7 and be looking at a potential. And they have a positive differential too, which is nice. But the problem is that in their division, pretty much everybody but the G.I. Joe have a positive differential. So it's clawing, it's fighting. So this coming up this week, we got some great games. On Thursday Night Football will be Lost Survivors taking on the Stellar Offenders. Offenders are number 1 in that division, and they're tied for that. So getting a big win over the Lost Survivors would help cement them going into the playoffs. The Lost Survivors are looking for a playoff spot, and they really need to win out here. So beating the Offenders on Thursday Night Football could really set a precedence for them going forward. On the Saturday Night Special, we got the Beer Gods taking on the All-American Alkies. The Beer Gods are number 1 in their division, but only by 1 win, and they only have 8 wins. So another victory is almost paramount for this team, especially since they've lost the last 3. All-American Alkies haven't been faring much better either. They were once number 1 in their division, and now they've fallen. They're 2 games down from the Greek Legends, and they're tied with the Westeros Guardians. They're slugging it out potentially for a wildcard spot, so they need a victory as well. So this all has playoffs in mind. During the Sunday afternoon games, you got the 8-Bit Brigade taking on the Pokemon Pokeballers, G.I. Joe at the Celestial Defenders, Nocturne Maniacs at the TMNT Torturers, Westeros Guardians at Greek Legends. That's a big matchup because Greek Legends, they're 2 games up on the Westeros Guardians. So the Guardians can get a victory there. They'll only be 1 down. Robot Masters facing off against the Rainbow Unicorns, Boxhead Capers at the DBZ Squad, World's Warriors taking on the Hoovians, Azerothian Assassins at the Rap Kings, Racial Slurs facing off against the Hollywood Heroes, South Jersey Slashers at the WWF Hoffs, and Venture Industry facing off against the Champs Chumps. And then on Sunday Night Football, a very interesting matchup as the VGV guys will be calling the Raider All-Stars taking on the Weapon X's. The Raider All-Stars are only 1 game down from the Beer Gods. The Weapon X's are only 2 games down from the Beer Gods. So really, both of these teams are looking to put the other one away and try to move forward in the division. So with the Beer Gods taking on the All-American Alkies this week, the Alkies can get a victory on Saturday Night Special, and then the Raider All-Stars are able to get a victory here on Sunday Night Football. That would place them in a tied position for first place. Potentially also with the DBZ squad. They're number 2 in the division as well. They're only 1 game down, and they play the Boxhead Capers during the Sunday afternoon game. So there is a lot of playoff speculation here. And don't forget about the Weapon X's either. If they can get a victory this week and some teams get some losses, they'll be right back in it. They'll only be 1 game down from the Beer Gods. The Beer Gods lose and the Weapon X's win. And so that is pretty good. Only 1 game down with 2 games left. So we got some great games coming up for Week 15. And then we got 2 more weeks going in Week 16, Week 17 playoffs. Oh, I can smell it. It's so close now. Soon we will have teams clinching their divisions. That has not happened yet. So, I mean, just looking at what I'm seeing here, I'm going to say that the first team to clinch will be the World's Warriors. Because, I mean, that just makes the most sense. Venture Industries, they lose this week. World's Warriors automatically gets it. World's Warriors wins this week. Bam, they get it. So it's not that hard. 3 games left. I don't think Venture Industries is going to go 3-0. I don't see the World's Warriors going 0-3. So I think they're going to clinch next week, no matter what. There is a possibility of the Greek Legends clinching next week as well. If they don't clinch next week, I'm going to say they're going to clinch the week after Week 16. They're right there. I think they can pull forward. Their offense has really been clicking this season. They're the number 3 offense, like I said earlier. So I don't think Westeros and the All-American Alkies have enough in the tank to go the distance, especially with the Alkies playing like the DBZ squad this week. The Greek Legends, they can put down the Westeros Guardians this week just with 1 win. That's all they got to do. They just got to win. So I think the Greek Legends will. But even if Westeros beats them this week, I think the Greek Legends will do it next week. I don't think Westeros got enough in the tank to overcome the Greek Legends. And then the next team to clinch will probably be in Week 16. And I'm going to say that team is going to be the Beer Gods. And my reasoning here is the Radar All-Stars taking on the Weapon X. Weapon X is a really good team. I think Weapon X is going to win this week. I think the Beer Gods is going to defeat the All-American Alkies this week. I think the DBZ squad, win, lose, or draw, it's not going to matter. Because I believe the Beer Gods are going to go into Week 16. They're going to win as well. I think that this losing streak, they're going to put behind them. You know, it's been dragging on him. I understand that. You can tell Evil Dave is getting definitely frustrated with what is happening. His team is playing great and then just meltdown. But every year he seems to have a meltdown in some capacity, but it seems like it comes during the playoffs. So maybe it's good that they're getting this out of the way right now and going into the playoffs. Maybe it'll be a little fresher. But to get to the playoffs, they're going to need big victories, and I think they're going to get 2 in the next couple weeks, and that's gonna link them. So. And then I think that during Week 16, I'm going to say the TMNT Turtles are going to clinch their division. They face off against the 8-Bit Brigade on Sunday Night Football. I think they're going to beat the 8-Bit Brigade, and I think that's going to trigger their clinching. I don't think the Slurs have enough in the tank. They got the bum back, but he hasn't really stayed healthy all season. I could see him getting injured again, and the Turtles making it in there. I think the Turtles will end up being like 9-7. I think they will. I think they'll avenge not making last year at 9-7 with getting in at 9-7 and winning the division, because I don't see any other team making it there, because they just it's been horrible for them. It's just been harsh. And then during Week 17, that's when we're going to crown both the Bad Snap and the Mad Pop. And I'm going to say in the Bad Snap, it's going to be the Stellar Offenders. They don't have to play the Hollywood Heroes again this season. They have a better offense and defense. Statistically, I think that they're going to do it. They're going to not only make the playoffs for the first time ever, but they're going to win the division first time ever. So I think that's going to happen during Week 17. And then in the Mad Pop, I think what's going to happen is the Rap Kings are going to seal the deal in Week 17 against the South Jersey Slashers. So, I mean, either one of two things is going to happen in Week 17. I'm going with the Rap Kings. They got the win this week, so I have to think they're going to get the win next week. Even before Freddie got injured, you could see a little bit of problems with the South Jersey Slashers. Once Freddie went out, it was implosion. The Defenders are still there, too. Don't forget about them. They still play one of those teams. I know that for a fact. I think that's next week during Week 16. So they're not out of the conversation yet either. But I think either the Rap Kings clinch during Week 17 or South Jersey Slashers clinch during Week 17. And I still think the Defenders will make it in there with a wild card spot or something like that. But the Rap Kings, I mean, you call it luck, you call it whatever, but they have been performing, and that's what matters. And maybe they have a negative differential, you know what? But they surviving. And so I give it to them. Okay. All right. So I think that's it. It's been great. Been awesome. It's been really gnarly. And we will see you next Tecmo.